Welcome back. Do you have a hobby? Or better yet, hobbies? Our next guest says you probably should. Why? Well, among other things, she says it could lead to a healthier you. Justine Froelker of JBF Therapy and Coaching is a licensed professional counselor. By the way, she calls her hobby, and here's a quote, the weirdest and most awesome hobby ever. You said that.
I mean, it is.
I know. And I don't want to give it away yet, though. We're going to go into that in just a minute. Good morning to you.
Morning.
So if we don't already, explain to us, convince us why we should adopt a hobby.
Why you need a hobby.
Need a hobby.
Not should.
Okay.
The should is full of guilt and shame, remember? Like, why do you need a hobby?
Okay.
Because people who have hobbies are happier and healthier. They report less stress, less anxiety, less depression. They have more meaning to their lives.
How about that? Why do you think that is? Is it just because it's an opportunity to sort of set out the distractions of the world, put that out of your mind, and just focus on something you do for pure enjoyment?
Right. So that you actually fill yourself up so that you have more to give to your life. It's not, life cannot just be about all the obligations. We have to have things
sure?
that
Are you positive?
I'm positive because
Okay.
my office is full of people whose lives are only full of obligations.
Aha, got it.
So
and they're
that's
coming to you because it's not working out
right,
so well.
exactly. So
Okay.
when we look at hobbies, a lot of researchers will say, when you're doing something that you really enjoy, you enter into a state of flow. You lose track of time, but you have to focus on it just enough that you have to pay attention, so you lose track of time, but it's not too frustrating.
Okay.
So you enjoy it, but it is it's a way to fill up. It's part of our self-care. It
Now,
really, really is.
For couples, married couples,
Yeah.
or you're just in a dedicated relationship, do you hobby together, or do you have your own independent hobbies, or both?
So this will be really annoying because technically I would love for you each to have your own hobbies and then probably a hobby that you do together. So, but here's the kicker when it comes to having a hobby with your partner. I think for a lot of couples it needs to be something that you learn together versus something that one person is the expert on and you're trying to teach it to the other person. Because for some relationships that's not an awesome dynamic, mine included.
Got it. Okay.
So we learned about our hobby together. It wasn't just me teaching him or him teaching me, like he tries to do with math, let's say.
And you're like, no.
I'm like, I don't care. Let's talk about feelings.
So let's, because you would do that.
Right.
Let's tell everybody about your hobby, because I think it is fascinating. And why do you think you're drawn to this?
So I raise butterflies. So I raise monarch butterflies and swallowtails. It's only my second year raising swallowtails. This is my third season, raising monarch butterflies. So monarchs are endangered. So we've lost 90% of the monarch population in the last 20 years, and they are pollinators. Without the bees and butterflies, we're in trouble. And I'm just drawn to them because what they go through, I honestly think they were kind of made to remind us that we can make it through anything, because the life cycle of the monarch is really, really miraculous. So I raise them, and it helps them. It helps their population when you bring them inside because they have a lot of predators.
I love it. And I think it's so symbolic of a lot of things that you've been through in your own personal life, too. One word of warning, though, you say you have to be careful that the hobby's not there to block out your life or to numb you, right?
So a lot of times I will tell my clients, anything that I ask you to do as a healthy coping skill or a hobby or self-care, it very easily can turn into numbing. You become obsessed with it and all of a sudden it's 4 hours later and you've lost all track of time. That's probably numbing. You're escaping or avoiding your life. You're not fully engaged in making an intentional choice of practicing that hobby. So for some of us, reading for a lot of people is that oh my gosh, it's 2 a.m. No, not healthy. Set a timer if you need to.
Okay.
Reading can be a hobby.
So
but
don't do that.
Right, don't numb it.
This is self-care.
Right.
Self-maintenance.
Fill up.
All right, thank you, Justine.
Thank
Very
you.
much. I love it. Justine's always writing about some great topic on her blog, and we've posted a link to that and her website on kmov.com/greatday. Guys?
That was truly great advice. I love it, especially if you're a couple like you and Katie, doing something together instead of you trying to teach her about the weather. She's teaching you about dance.
She tries to
That
teach
makes
me how to
sense.
cook or something. It just doesn't work. Or sing
and she's
or
fantastic.
So
any,
learn together.
any of that
Yeah,
stuff. And
that is great.
Justine will tell you that when she was gumming Gerbers, I was raising butterflies and monarch butterflies. My dad and I did that
Really?
as a hobby. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's very cool.
It was very cool.
Then maybe you two could team
But
up.
that at the time, they were not at risk. There was no, they were not
As they
in
are
danger.
now, yeah.
But in honor of that, I too am a pollinator. I don't know if you know that, but I
Oh, I know.
I am
No, I'm
trying to
well
take the bull
aware.
by the horns.